What we try to do is actually bridge the gap between food waste. About 40%, as you mentioned, of food from wholesale to retail is not hitting the consumer. So for us at Rethink, what we aim to strive is to provide a platform in which we can take that food before it becomes, it hits the expiry date, actually working with the USDA to reconfigure those guidelines as to what, how can food be transported to those in need. The coolest thing I've seen here this year I think the advancement in technology from the greens, the vertical farms, to just the little quirks of, I think, tools in the kitchen to be used. I think like just watching a home rotisserie chicken from Phillips, the air fryer, but, I think just bugs being served, different ways in which we're looking at food tech versus just what an iPad would do with food. I think it's grown over 3 years. I think Meg Savage from Food Loves Tech has done an amazing job just curating from the 3D printing to, just the apps and, new food technology that we're getting from a consumer base. So funny enough, the insects that I actually worked with Brooklyn Bugs, Joseph Yoon, about 2 weeks ago we did a dinner. So I had chipollinis, which is, crickets, to ants, mealworms. We actually did a dish. I mean, the whole entire meal was based on insects. We actually did a cricket pastry, venison Wellington, and we did a duxelle that was made of mealworms and crickets. The future of food innovation, where I see it, I think bridging the gap to those that are hungry, food accessibility. When we talk about food excess or the coining the term food waste, I think what pops in mind to me is food accessibility to those that are in need. Living in New York is kind of crazy that we still have food deserts, being Bronx, where most of the suppliers are. There's still a lot of food insecurity out there and people that are starving from a day to day. And, for me, where technology can play is actually how do we aim to get, utilize technology to get cheaper and more accessible, but yet nourish, nutritious meals to those that are actually, requiring those nutrients. So I was born and raised in Brooklyn. I spent some time in the UK as a kid. I actually went to, I haven't gone to China per se, but I've gone to Asia, visited Burma, I visited, Hong Kong, and all these other booming cities, Cambodia, and you can see, what food insecurity looks like. I've also done a lot of traveling overseas in South America, and you can see the issues that we're having in terms of just overpopulation, food production, how people are eating. I think this day and age, what people are looking for is actually for transparency. For me, the situation at hand is a growing one, and solutions that we're looking for has to be more sensible. So I definitely seen a cultural shift in terms of actually people demanding to know more transparency where the food is it single origin, how is it being grown, how are we sourcing responsibly. So that conversation is always ongoing and developing, and it'll be interesting to see what that, over the next 5 years to 10 years, what that conversation is going to shift towards. As a chef, I'm inspired by the community and the people that we actually work and cook for, the stories that we share. And, I think just building that community of just good service and food. So my relationship with Fifi started about a year ago. At Food Loves Tech, I did a dinner at Fifi highlighting food waste. That was, one of the initial relationships that was a Kickstarter. And this year coming back, I'm here to represent Rethink Food, which is a 501(c) nonprofit organization looking to reduce excess. I think for us at Rethink, the conversations that we're having is, sustainability comes in so many fronts. People talk about single origin sourcing to, how much resources are we actually utilizing to, like, say, for instance, if you're growing a cattle, it takes X amount of energy and resources to grow a cattle versus you choosing certain plants to eat. And I think there's so many initiatives, and how we were looking at Rethink is that we look across the board and say, not being siloed, but across the board as to what makes sense. What is the most sustainable way? Is there the most sustainable way? Or is the answer being transparent, being informative and educating so that we're more well balanced. I think we need more of a balance in this world, especially in our food systems, just to have a better balance that can, ultimately change things. I think, we're kind of forcing ourselves to either be, forcing ourselves into diets, and either we're all vegan or all vegetarian, we're all meat, and I don't think that's, for me, it's not the answer. It's to have well balance, and balance is always the key to me, to creating a good dish, but also having a healthy lifestyle.